Good morning, friends. Today my book for discussion is Think Straight by Darius Foroux. We came across this author today itself when Alaga said, "Do it today." This is one of his books. He's a Dutch author, speaker, and entrepreneur who is known for his work in self-development and productivity. So his idea is centered around his ideology is centered around the idea that through habit influence success, and also how our thought process can bring about a great significant change in our life. So in this book, Think Straight, Darius Foroux is emphasizing the power of our thoughts, because we think a lot but we don't know how to think. That's what he said in this book. And in this book, the book is divided into a lot of chapters with minute content, because there are a lot of chapters which can be pretty readable and understandable in a simple language. So the whole book is divided into different ideas, and I would like to share you some of the ideas which he presented in that book. The first one is, you become what you think. Because when we can't stop the spectrum of things that we think in a day. As humans, it is said that we think about 60,000 to 70,000 things in a day, and we can't stop that. Because by sitting in here, one can think about his home, his favorite place, his favorite person, and all. We can't stop that. But the thing we can do is that control that and channelize that to specific points that we have to concentrate. So in that sense, we can improve ourselves and create a great success. Because thinking straight is a very difficult thing, and it is said that we become what you think, be it negative or be it positive. We become what we think. For showing that he's given an example of a medical student at the beginning chapter. He's from USA. He was a medical student. He was a good student, but he was facing from illness and a lot of other problems, and that led him to the depression. He was many times he was there, and he was ready to commit suicide, but he was controlling himself. And once he read a book and he got influenced by that, he came to know that his thought is playing mind games with him, and that revelation made him control his thoughts and came back stronger. And later we see him as a great American psychologist, William James. He's shown that Darius Foroux has shown that example to show the power of thought, because what we think we will become, because eventually our body will follow our mind. That's the first idea. Then the next is that free will and practical thinking. We all have free will, but we don't know how to use it. Because we think a lot, about a lot of things, but we don't know how to channelize that. We don't know how to think. That's why he said there is a need of a book to make us understand how to think. That's why he wrote this book as well. Because we need to know how to use our free will, and also we should think practically. By thinking practically, he means that think in a positive way, thinking towards reality without assumptions or imaginations. Because if we create assumptions, we will make up things in our mind, and which will create the situation worse and worse. So we should think straight and think in a practical way. Then the another thing is, life is not linear. That's a life lesson as well. Because life is not at all linear. We may think each and everything we desire to become, that's a linear path. If you think about your life from your primary class up to this MBA, that the life is not at all linear. We have to go through a lot of ups and downs, many happiness and sorrows, and in here as well, through this MBA career, there are 2 years. We have to do a lot of stuff, something planned, something unplanned, unforeseen circumstances. Sometimes you have to come in front of all 40 of us and speak like this. And sometimes it may be unplanned. So it is not linear. We have to go through a lot of things to get the clarity. Once we know how to untie the loop, then the clarity will arise. And you should all note that when we learn a new thing, there is always, the beginning will be interesting, and there will be a point where a certain barrier occurs, and it is very hard to crack. But we should wait patiently. We should crack that, and then only we can go to the next level. That's what he's emphasizing when he says life is not linear. Then the next point he says is that take time. We often take decisions and take actions quickly. We think that quick action is needed in most of the times, but it's just a myth. Apart from certain situations, we don't need quick actions or quick thoughts. We can take time, take a breath, and think more positively and more effectively to bring about good decisions. So sometimes stop thinking also works, because in certain situations we tend to make up certain assumptions. We tend to overthink. That's more adverse than what we will think, because overthinking is a burden, and we will create certain situations that will later come to reality, because as he said, we will become what we think. So overthinking can be stopped. Sometimes stop thinking, take a breath, and then think. Another point he speaks about is think out of the box. I think all of you have heard this phrase, think out of the box. It has come in many contexts, and thinking out of the box is not at all bad. It's actually a pretty good way of making good decisions, or it's a good way of taking actions as well. Because thinking out of the box, we will think unconventionally, and it is no shame to think unconventional, be different, and we should be confident of our decisions, because we should get out of the comfort zone. Most of the time the magic happens elsewhere, our comfort zone. Magic happens outside the comfort zone, and if we don't get out of our comfort zone, we won't see that magic, or we won't feel that magic. That's another point. Then the last point he says is that control versus uncontrolled. You know, most of the things in our life is uncontrolled, because through his book he said that up to 90% of things which is happening in our life, that's uncontrolled, and we are worrying about the uncontrollables. We are not at all focusing on the controllables. In contrast, when we start focusing on the controllables, the 10%, our life will drastically change, because we don't know what situation we will end up in the next day or next year or the following years, or what job will we end up. We will have a desire, but as life is not linear, there are certain ups and downs, and we don't know the situation that is going to happen. So we should focus on the controllables, the things which we have in hands all the time. Then only we can improve our life, and that will significantly change your life. So I will recommend to read this book, because this is a small book. Everyone can read it. The points he wrote is clear and concise, and also the exercises he is saying is so actionable. So that's about the book, and I recommend all you to read this book. Thank you.